Here we are, the end of the first NFL Monday of the 2025 NFL season. A first there and a first here, because I'm sitting here next to the esteemed Jimmy Smith, noted media voice, noted Eagles fan, noted Crower after the season opener in our own little chats for the first episode of NFL Afters, featuring I'm Laurie Horesh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm Laurie Horesh. Jimmy Smith, presented by PointsBet. And look, this is for us, and hopefully for you guys out there, this is the conversation you want to be having. Sleep deprived, a little bit dreary, emotionally satisfied and spent.
Yeah.
And just wanting to keep the love of the NFL in your heart, in your mind, and on the, I was about to phrase that very interestingly, but on the tip of your tongue at the end
Right
of
the tip.
the end
Right
of
the tip.
11 hours. Jimmy, it's a pleasure to get underway with a show that really had its origin point, perhaps birthed out of the Super Bowl after party for your Philadelphia Eagles in the fine city of New Orleans.
Yeah, I got to live the dream. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to NFL Afters. If you hear the slight pause, it's because I keep needing to turn around and remind myself of the name. Actually, just before we met, we'll tell the story of how we met and hung out. On the weekend, there was an NFL launch party in Brisbane, which I went up to. And I got told once in media, when you start something, right? You start something new, don't tell a lot of people. Just let it, grow organically. Because you don't put a lot of eyes on it at the first point, because we're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. And I may have had a couple of beers and told everyone to listen to the greatest NFL podcast ever before we even recorded an interview. Because that's the type of guy I am. I talk smack before. That's the Michael Jordan, swinging the baseball bat. You can talk when you're up. I talk when we're down. We have no listeners. And I'm talking so much smack like I did before the game. But thankfully, my Eagles beat your Cowboys. But yes, Laurie and I met at the Super Bowl. I'm lucky enough, one of those people that can say, I watched my team win a Super Bowl. I'm wearing my Cooper DeJean, look, Super Bowl jersey.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember the logo well.
You want to touch it?
Not even a little bit.
When you had the logo, was it black and white?
Listen, we're going to get into some disputes that we may hold, but look, the scoreboard is a little dusty. It still reads 5-2, but yeah,
great documentary. Great documentary.
Great media coverage.
Yeah.
Look, we're
cheerleaders.
We are a conglomerate. We are a powerhouse. We are a cultural force. We just don't have any silverware from the last 3 decades, and that's the world I live in. And look, for a lot of fans out there, that's something they share as well. And this is going to be a show for all fans.
For the fans, yes.
We're definitely here for the people, for our fellow 3 a.m. alarm risers. Or I don't want to exclude anyone. I know we've got folks from Perth, and I think they actually get up 3 days later.
Could it be midnight? Is it 3 hours different? Midnight?
I think it is midnight rising, which is just outlandish.
Yeah, well, you couldn't really go back to sleep though, could you? You're just up for the entire day.
And then you've got New Zealand is sneaky one of the great time zones to watch football.
Because it would be
2 hours in front.
Yeah.
So they're late games. Once we get the daylight saving kicking forward, and we're into they're kicking off at 2:30 in the afternoon.
That's good.
I like that. That's superb.
Yeah.
That's fine pub time. So look, this is a show for the people where I know you guys will be feeling the same. It's that phenomenal exhaustion that you get from rising early, watching copious amounts of football, including today. We're going to touch on the games, obviously, but that ended in an absolute belter.
41-40.
MVP versus could have, would have, should have been MVP 2024. Josh Allen letting everybody know that, he has, in my opinion, has taken the mantle of this guy will get it done, the singular entity in the NFL. You don't want to take respect away from your Super Bowl champion Eagles, Jalen, Saquon, the offensive line, and how inevitable they feel. But this, as a single player, right now, the look in his eyes, the way he's operating, he feels truly inevitable.
I mean, yeah, I love my Eagles, obviously, and I love everyone on the team. And I love my man. I'm not going to trade it, but doesn't mean I can't look at another man and just be like, that's a great man. This is a man I appreciate. He's not my man,
no.
But it's.
And then you see him not only is he not my man, but you watch him perform on the field, and then you watch his work on the tee box and the golf course. He's an absolute weapon. He
got married recently.
He does work in the community.
I know. He just seems like a great guy.
Great hang.
Great jokes as well.
He seems really up there on the would have a beer with list in the
Oh,
NFL.
very high. He'd be very high for me.
Tough to
And
beat.
like we were chatting before about this. Like, they won 41-40. There was a bit of me. I'm like, is this like, is it like, are they going to lose like the Bills? And they scored 22 points in the fourth quarter.
It was,
Some teams don't score that all season.
and that was
Miami.
And we're going to touch on you, Miami, because we're going to kick off in a sec with our opening segment. But look, this show is going to grow naturally, much like our love for Josh Allen has. I mean, look, I was a noted. I won't say hater, but I was not in on Josh Allen in the draft. I had to learn some hard lessons there. I may have taken.
Weren't sold on the Wyoming school of football.
There may be an outstanding bet out there, still to culminate at the end of their careers, where I may have taken Sam Darnold and the opposition. Actually, another Jimmy. Took took Josh Allen. I took Sam Darnold. So that's a long-standing kind of albatross that I carry. But look, this show's going to grow naturally. We're going to fill out the set with knickknacks as the season rolls on. But to start with, I think there's no other way than sitting here having that familiar feeling, having taken in 11 hours of football, with a little, as you've already come to know, and as folks who've watched any of my content with ESPN Australia and New Zealand before, my references have a nice 15-year vintage at least. So we are going to open with a segment called "These Are My Impressions."
These are my impressions.
For anyone familiar with the prolific artist Usher.
Hey, mate, he performed at the Super Bowl.
He did. He performed at a Super Bowl I was at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was a huge cheer when the shirt came off.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly.
Yeah. I actually took my shirt off at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which you
Similar
know.
response?
No, I was asked to put it back on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think there were boos when Usher put his back on.
Yeah, no, mine was actually, to be fair, everyone in the crowd cheered, but it's like one thing about being an Australian, and like I look very Australian, right? I got the mullet, I got the mustache, and I can turn that. Okay, hey mate, there you go. Anyway. And this guy comes, he's like, "Excuse me, sir, you're gonna need to put your shirt back on." I'm like, "Oh mate, I'm so sorry." I was like, "Can I not?" And he's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like, "Australia." And he's like, "Look, I'm sure you can take your shirt off there, but right here, you're gonna need to put it back on." I'm like, just miscommunication. Sorry, mate. Different people.
The cultural divide.
It is.
Look,
did we say that we met at the Super Bowl? Did we finish that story? I was at the after party for the Eagles. Sure. I don't think we finished it, but I got to watch my birds, and then I see this sort of like sad guy. And I'm like, I'm at the Eagles after party. Like, there's like, your Kevin Hart's there, Zach Bryan, Shane Gillis, Bradley Cooper, Diplo was playing, Big X the Plug was playing.
Yeah, notably from Texas.
Yeah, but was at the Eagles after party. And then I just see this guy sort of by himself with a drink.
By himself's tough.
Okay, tough. You were with a friend of ours, Charlotte, but you were a little sad. And I was like, then I came to realize, yes, you're a Cowboys fan, passionately. And while you, it was great that you were at the Eagles after party. You, Jordan Mailata, shared Jordan's whole family there as well.
Yeah,
shared his mum Maria. Yeah. You were just like, why am I?
Well, it's one of those
surreal. You couldn't say no.
No, you couldn't say no. And you're certainly in enemy territory. You're in enemy territory, and you're in territory that, frankly, you feel pretty distant from, in terms of what you might aspire to be in. But it was that thing because Jordan had just won. Lakin had got a ring in his rookie season on the practice squad. Matt Leo, who's on the staff as well, another Aussie. So it was hard not to feel some affinity for those guys. But yeah, you definitely felt like a fish out of water. Meanwhile, you were being showered with every bit of Eagles paraphernalia you could get your hands on.
Yeah, people coming from their rooms downstairs just handing me bags with like Mitchell and Ness. I've got like the Jordan gave me like what were they were like pearls or something.
Yeah, the beads, the New Orleans beads.
New Orleans beads, yeah, that's right. And then you're there and you were just singing, you're like, all by myself. But yes, this is how our friendship started.
Look, a lot of friendships, and a lot of relationships are tested and built and fostered through adversity. And at least half of us was going through that at the time. The other one was on cloud 9.
I was saying, you brought my vibe down a little.
You know what? That was my goal. Yeah. That was my goal. I'm going to find the one of the Australians here that is absolutely cock of the walk, up and about. And I'm going to try and just take a little shine off with some grumpiness while
got a lot of merch there too, man.
Noted celebrities walk by. There's Big Dom over there. Yeah. There was.
I had a beer with Cooper. I don't think he remembered it, but
Nick Sirianni's walking around with a stogie. Yeah, victory stogies. So that's the genesis of it. Now, though, that is something that's going to frame perhaps part of our conversation today because our two teams did meet, and we're going to get to that. But to our impressions, just a couple of things that sit with us sit with the emotion, sit with the feels, sit with the takeaway. What's the first one that comes off rip for you that you take away from the games we saw today? We had some over, obviously, Friday with the kickoff game and Saturday as well with a little Chargers-Chiefs action. What's the first impression that comes off for you from these results?
Well, in the moment right now, we've probably sung too much. We sung Usher and then you don't need to DM us that. There's stuff that will be obviously
self-notes.
Yeah. Feedback's important. Yep. We value yours, DM us, but the singing is important. I mean, other than that, Eagles and Cowboys, our team, very confusing game. Obviously, Carter got sent off in the first minute. We need to speak about Dak spat first. AJ Brown got sent off. No, he didn't. Oh, sorry. I thought he wasn't there. Apparently, no.
He appeared to be sent off.
He appeared to be sent. I thought because I was on a plane for that first half. So when I landed, I was like, AJ must have spat too.
You're not the only one who thinks that, because I think Jalen Hurts also thought he was sent off with the targets that he got sent.
One. Was it the last? Was it only target was under 2 minutes to go in the game? Yeah. One grab for 8 yards. And for our fantasy friends, I hope you enjoyed that 1.8 points.
Yes. The running meme being those that drafted AJ Brown and then also taking Christian McCaffrey in the first round, and we're going through the motions on the weekend as that first calf issue report came through for Christian McCaffrey. Did suit up today, plenty of the fantasy anxiety was out early.
Even texting you I drafted CD in one of my drafts, and I was high on him, and then he was looking good, and I was texting you going, "This is so conflicting," because the fantasy player in me is stoked, then the Eagles fan me is hurting, and then when he dropped it, I was a couple of drops, wasn't it?
How much more kissed can the Eagles be right now, and Eagles fans as well, because you do what some would consider the unthinkable and spend your first pick on CeeDee Lamb. What does he do? Gives you a huge fantasy day, but key drops where it counts. So you get the result. So,
los dos, I think is a technical term.
Honestly, I'm starting to get a feel for how this season might be going. But
what do you think?
What do I think of that game? I think Eagles' offensive line might have taken half a step back, at least early on, and they got some gelling to do, and they will. Stoutland's a genius. I think Jalen Hurts' legs are backbreaking.
Yeah.
They are. That's not something new, but on a day where he was fine as a passer, but he wasn't explosive or electric, his ability to make the right decision at those times where the Cowboys kind of wadded things up. Nothing.
Yeah, they step back. You can see he's looking there, and he's like,
"All right."
It's that thing about the Thanos. I'll do it myself.
The old phrase: "It's the economy, stupid. It's the running, stupid." Sometimes it's just it's third down, and I'm gonna punish you with that. And
he's inevitable.
And what one of the big takeaways was one of the differences between these two teams. Cowboys were better than expected. Spirited performance. They will take a ton.
I thought your defense was way better than I thought it would be.
I really firmed up in the second half, especially against.
The first 2 quarters maybe not, but towards the end.
Second one having 3-0 a carry is a big result. But what you did say, and Dak was fantastic, but the Cowboys don't have a break glass in case of emergency. The two teams we just watched on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Lamar, Josh Allen, the Ravens, Bills, respectively. They have break glass in case of emergency. Mahomes, even in a defeat, we saw break glass in case of emergency. The Eagles have that as well.
Yeah.
Saquon is not plowing away huge chunks on the ground. AJ Brown's not having a big day. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert not having huge moments. They have a break glass in case of emergency. Cowboys don't.
Yeah.
Dak was great. Dak was fantastic. You can argue that Dak was the better quarterback out there. Certainly passing, running is very different.
Yeah.
But they don't have that quiver in the bow. They don't have that, and I just absolutely butchered that analogy. But they don't have that string, and that's a massive difference. And that's something that I think when you look at these teams at the top, you're looking for them to prove it throughout. And Eagles weren't at their best. They've got gelling to do. They've had some pieces come out and some movement around, but
I definitely think and losing Carter in that first minute and Dak spat first, we've been over it. I think we're going to cover it a little bit later as well.
We're going to go deep into the Zapruder film on that.
To the spitting later, so I don't want to say too much on it, but losing him, and he is such we had a lot of losses in the defensive side of the ball, and he's a huge part of what we do, and I don't think there's any world in which we prepared for losing him in a minute. Even though when I saw his name getting ejected, I'm not surprised. No. I was on a plane too, so I didn't see the spit. I just heard his name went out.
Well, he did.
It's going to be someone.
He did slide to us in, the back end of the top 10 for a reason.
Yes.
But look, Jalen Carter not there. Obviously, Milton Williams left. Josh Sweat left.
Yeah.
So there were changes up front, but look, there was championship composure there. There was a separation of just execution down the stretch. But that, I think, honestly, Well, talking about impressions, one of my impressions and one of my kind of hotter takes, I think, coming away from that is I think the conversation around Dak not being a top 10, top 12 quarterback, him being ranked outside of that and people pushing down in that 16 range, I think that's done. I think that'll be absolutely put to bed by the end of the next month. I think what we saw out of him, the level he was operating on, looks healthy, looks mobile, good mood. Sassy Dak, the wink and the smile that we'll touch on, but I think Dak's pushing him. He'll push himself back into that top 6, top 7 quarterback conversation. I think some others didn't have a prolific start. I think, you look at a Joe Burrow, didn't have a great start. A lot of love for Joe Burrow.
Yeah. You love Joe Burrow. Big Joe Burrow.
Big Joe Burrow guy. It's going to be a flashpoint this season. I can guarantee you that. But I think what you saw from Dak, offensive line holding up decently well, and that offense actually being aggressive again because they were pretty tepid and pretty constrained last season. I think one of my takes is that Dak will be back in that top 6, top 7 conversation at the quarterback spot, and we'll be there in the next month.
He'll be in a different team, and you'll be trying to get Arch Manning, but he will be.
Oh,
he looked great on the Rams. Stafford gets injured. He goes there. Plays in Australia.
I tell you what,
you get to meet Dak.
I tell you what. Yes, because it hasn't looked like I'd be meeting him at Super Bowl week anytime soon. That's for sure.
I'm glad you picked up what I was putting down.
All right, another impression I've got, right? And it's a team that perhaps could use a Dak Prescott. All sorts of talk going into the season about the battle for the number 1 overall pick is going to be between the likes of the New Orleans Saints and Cleveland Browns. Courtesy of a few things, but maybe most centrally of all, courtesy of Tua, the Miami Dolphins have walked into the club and said, hold on. Maybe they're a team for Dak Prescott in the future if it doesn't work out in Dallas, because that was horrendous.
It looked really bad. Like really, really bad.
Heinous. Like the unanimity, the absolute agreement across the board from Dolphins fans, Dolphins Twitter, Dolphins TikTok, Dolphins 4chan, Dolphins YouTube comments, that they're just out and done, and that was just entirely deflating. Like that is, the sideline scenes where you've got Tyreek Hill
yelling, screaming. He already said he wanted to leave last year,
and now he's
stuck
to build
around.
Back.
I know.
I'm working on the type of leader I'm going to be. Jalen Waddle standing there, it's kind of there but not there, not engaging as he's having this moment. The vibes could not be worse. I'm so out on that Dolphins team. Naturally, perhaps was a little bit too on board with Jalen Waddle coming into this season and feeling great about that now. But that was everything you don't want to see from a team in week 1. Everything.
Bad. I mean, I try not to slander any of my good Alabama alumni. For those that know, I went to Bama, Roll Tide Roll. Shout out Jesse Williams, good friend of mine. I feel bad, with all the concussion stuff, and then he just looked bad. And then, to your point, what's Mike McDaniel's going to do? Tyreek, you just blow it up, go to the draft. I don't see a world in which you can make that work.
No, the infrastructure, the line doesn't feel good. The defense, was meant to be improved and a bit of a strength. And I don't think you walk away from today's result feeling that at all after Daniel Jones looked like Dan Marino.
I know. Great for the Colts.
It just, I mean, you got Shane Steichen is back as Steich Daddy. That name is being restored presently after that week 1 performance. Yeah. This was a game that people talked about. Is this going to define who's going to be the first coach fired? And Steichen doesn't look like that today. I mean, Michael Pittman looked revived. Jonathan Taylor looked good. I
thought they were a sneaky good team. Obviously, we need to see how they play. But, I mean, I think people were a lot lower on the Colts than where the Colts should have been.
Oh, yeah.
They got great talent across the park.
And
offensive line isn't bad either.
Trendy as anything going into last year, and couldn't be less so now. Anthony Richardson. I joked he's a Florida guy. Could Miami have just traded for him halfway through the third quarter? Said just we got to you're on that bench. Just come over here. We got a jersey for you. You'll be right. Hop on out here because Tour isn't it. But the response from Dolphins fans is just that's one of the quickest. They're ready for the tank.
Well, I made the joke with you before we got on that Trump's going to deport them out of the NFL. Get out of here. Don't like them. Bad people. I don't like them. Tyreek Hill, get out of here. Do it. We'll bring in someone from the SEC, one of those teams. What's Bama doing? Are they back?
You feeling Bama are back after your 99 to
after we
0.
fell down, was it 13, 14 positions? I know this isn't a college football, but that was very triggering. That's why I shared. I'm like, we won 73-0. But yeah, Miami looks terrible.
I have to think. I mean, Tyreek Hill, the frustration that I felt watching that Chiefs team when Mahomes is playing good football and there's too much Thornton action going on out there. Rashee Rice will be back in now 5 weeks, 6 weeks. We're through 1 week. That's the type of maths you can expect here. But I like Tyreek Hill back on a Chiefs team with a kind of October trade would not be out of the question.
Do you think he still has something to offer? I think that was the question in the offseason.
I think he's still got something to offer. I don't think he's at the level he was, but I also think he was going to a place where, I mean, no coaching staff has had a better command on what to do with him and how to deploy him. And look at how they've looked at someone like Kelsey, who is not as fast as he once was.
And some of the stuff they drew up for him, I mean, we'll chat Chiefs and Chargers later, but he looked good in a few plays there.
Well, that Kelsey, there's no, as much as Chiefs fans, one, it was sluggish early. They kind of made it closer later, and there were some drives that were pretty frustrating. Once again, we've got a star receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs going down with friendly fire, but I think there's still so much. There's some of the designs they had on offer there, and then just some of the outrageous playmaking from Mahomes. There's still plenty there. But look, they ran into a Chargers team that you're talking about the impressions you get. There's a Chargers team that just made a statement.
Look, I think you're right. Unfortunately, the Dolphins have been eliminated from playoff contention.
It is.
They are the first time a team has done that in the first week.
Yep. Especially a team with a bit too much Pro Bowl talent to be writing them off that quickly. But yeah, for me, those are the big ones that jumped out. Was there anything else that we're going to go rapid fire through game by game in a sec? Was anything else? Any kind of overarching sentiment or narrative or just, warm, fuzzy feeling that you got from the Slater results?
Oh, I did see your picks for the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Which were Packers and Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Bills I get. I mean, all in on Josh Allen. What a great man.
Yeah.
But
Team of destiny.
I mean, obviously I can't really pick Packers as an Eagles fan. But someone on the weekend, someone chatted to me and they went, pretend the Eagles don't exist. And I just started crying. What will I do with my life? But I was like,
win 8 games this season.
Yeah, I'm in on the Packers. They look good. They got your boy Mark Parsons. Maybe you would have won on the weekend if you didn't get rid of him. Shout out to Jerry. He listens. He's a big NFL Afters fan.
Yeah, he is.
But I think that was probably the other thing I came away with. It was like looking at that game. I was like, oh wow, their love looked good.
That kind of classic spread around the different receivers. You got, Reed has his moments, Wicks has his moments, Kraft certainly had his moments.
Kraft looked good.
He's a breakout candidate for sure.
Yeah.
He already semi-broke out last year, but he was a steal in fantasy drafts. I think to me, he was the antidote of anyone out there that's, whether you've, picking which wide receiver is going to have a touchdown or picking, which wide receiver you're going to invest in fantasy. The antidote to that this season was forget all that. Just pick Tucker Kraft late on and add him to your, because and he was a raw guy coming out of college, didn't go to a massive school. He was pretty untapped, and the talent was there. And that's what they were saying on the broadcast today, and that's what everyone's been talking about. He was like, "This is just the scratch on the surface." You
did text me because I'm in a few drafts, and I did, and he was available.
A few.
I'm in 12.
Dirty dozen.
I'm in 12.
It's a problem. There'll be an intervention halfway through this season, halfway through this episode.
The worst part about this podcast is when you're a fan, right? Like, and I'm a fan. I do radio, I do breakfast things. Like, I'm not in the sports wheelhouse, but my partner can listen to things and find out what's really happening. She does not know. I mean, when she sees this, do not clip this, that I have 12 fans. She'll be like, she thinks it's just like, I was like, that's 2 or 3, babe. It's 2 or 3. I've got to constantly look at wavy what. I have a problem.
Wednesdays must just be, you just be so attentive and present on Wednesday evening.
Anyone who listens to my radio show, like Monday morning is probably the worst because I've got the game going. I've got Red Zone on Disney Plus playing on my laptop, and like Nath, like Emma would show up, like talking to me about what?
Sorry, what?
Sorry,
did you say? What would you say about David Njoku?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from our Usher themed impressions into just we're going to hit results, bang through, making sure that we are speaking across the league, making sure that you're feeling represented out there, that we see you, whether you're a Panthers fan or a Jags fan or a Titans fan or we'll make sure you feel seen. Saints fans maybe. I love Saints fans, but I don't know that Saints fans want to be referenced right now. They're pretty ready for whenever Arch comes out. However he looks as well.
Yeah, they're all in.
Yeah, we'd like a Manning.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just want one again.
Yeah.
We didn't win anything with Archie, but we'll take another ring around. All right, so right off the top, We've touched on Cowboys, Eagles. I think we can zoot through that one. Chiefs, Chargers. Look, 27-21, the Justin Herbert MVP from not someone who was at the top, but in terms of markets, in terms of favorites and all that, but someone that's going to come from that kind of middle, even lower middle class contender. Just a huge takeaway here is that not just the Justin Herbert of it all. Hampton had some nice moments. Ladd, Keenan, Order. The Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, actually throwing the rock around. This is someone who, at a lot of stops, Baltimore, San Francisco notably, people kind of got a bit frustrated that it was always run all the time and there wasn't enough. There's a bit of...
It was chucking everywhere.
Yeah, there's a bit of
a big Ladd guy. I mean, I wanted it just to go to Ladd, but it was...
Yeah, it was all over the place. We're getting tight ends involved. I think like there's just a little bit here where it's like, okay, we need to watch out that we're getting a different type of Greg Roman behind all this. And that's good news for Justin Herbert because, again, look, I was lucky enough to go by...
well, you told me they're huge.
They're such a physically imposing
Jim loves
team.
huge men.
He does. Jim loves big boys. And sadly, he only reserves the rev up he does where he like whacks Justin Herbert. Yeah. It's just for Justin.
Oh.
Yeah. I asked Ladd and Derwin James whether they... No,
they didn't get whacked by Jim.
No, that's just for the QBs. That's a QB thing. QBs are...
QBs get it too good.
They do.
They get it too good.
But just someone to watch there that I think we had a little idea that this was going to be more like Michigan football, ram it down, 4 yards in a cloud of dust. So I don't want to say 3 yards. Give credit to O'Marion Hampton. He's got some juice. But this thing just looks a little bit more expensive. So that's a bit of fun. All right. Moving through. Bucks, Falcons, 23-20. Anything jump off to you there? This felt a little... Falcons in another close one. This felt a little... We've seen this with the Falcons before.
Yeah. I mean, they missed that kick at the end.
Yeah. Kicking drama. I would say Bijan... I'm not sure I've seen like a 50-yard touchdown look that easy. That first he gets a little swing out to the right, and he's making people
look so silly.
Like they were playing stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
And that's waiting for someone to tunnel it.
I think Saquon said that in like the NFL Top 100. Yeah. He's like, Bijan's my guy.
Yeah.
He's like, he's the guy that can like do it better than me.
Also, do you know that stuck in the mud no longer, the schoolyard
game?
Yeah,
schoolyard game.
Yeah, it's no longer tunnel under to let people... You get tipped, you get stuck. Yeah. You get someone tunnels
you go
under
your
free
again.
Again.
It was a great game.
Yeah. No, it's like a someone comes along and
because you
tips
can't go under someone's leg.
Yeah, it's changed.
World's gone mad.
World's changed. All right, Bengals, Browns. You got thoughts, you Mr. Anti-Burrow?
I'm not anti-Burrow.
You're an anti-Burrowite. Yes,
well, I mean, he did go to LSU, and I hate the Tigers. But I think I'm not as high on Burrow as you're on Burrow.
No, I am flying.
You're so high on Burrow that then makes me. Then I'm like, well, I'm gonna hate him a little bit. I'm like, Burrow, because like, what has he? I mean, even last year, like, don't get me wrong, it was a great season, but like, what were they doing? And I know the offense,
the defense,
the defense, defense is non-existent.
Offensive line has never been a strong point. They've tried to address.
Yes, correct. So I get that. But then I think everyone, like including myself, thought they would just throw the rock a lot and score a lot of points because they'd leak a lot of points. But then the game's 17-16. Yeah. Go back to fantasy managers. Like we thought every one of the Bengals was like,
hands up if you drafted Joe Burrow. So look, my takeaway from this is it's week one. And there's a lot of...
They lost 3 first games
exactly
in a row. Yeah.
The notoriously slow starting team.
Yeah.
It's week one and you got a dirty win. You got an ugly win that has not been in their wheelhouse, in their capability, not their MO, not on their resume at any point over their recent history. So you got a dirty win. It wasn't pretty. Okay. I understand if you're, a Bengals fan and a Bengals fantasy investor, then, okay, I understand there's frustration there. Yes, it's the Browns led by 49-year-old Joe Flacco. Leading receiver might be a halfback tight end combo player.
I tell you who's good. Miles Garrett is just a beast.
What was going through Joe's mind
in that one clip?
When they run a little stunt and he swoops around untouched.
Like
Veronica said.
Joe's like, no.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need a supercut of that sack with the Veronicas playing underneath.
No singing. Do not let me sing.
That's third singing.
Have you ever seen Miles Garrett in real life? Because I know you cover.
No, not in person.
Well,
not in person.
You saw that video then. Like we've both hung out with Jordan Mailata. We know Jordan is a massive human being.
Huge.
Like I can't stress that enough, right?
Yeah.
But like that video, when there was the Browns and the Eagles training, and like he makes like Jordan look small and non-ripped. He's like huge, but he's also just ripped and lean.
Jordan's massive, but Jordan makes sense. He's in proportion. He's an absolute outlier in terms of the athletic specimen he is. But you look at him and he's like, yes, this makes sense.
You're a huge human.
It fits.
Yeah. Who stops people.
Miles Garrett is like closer to a monster.
It doesn't look. It literally the
Disney plug.
Space Jam. Like, how is this man this ripped and this lean at that size and that fast and
that? I can't imagine what was going through Joe Burrow's mind when he just sees 95 flash inside, just clean as a whistle, and just gets planted.
I would have just yeeted the ball away. Not today. Not like no chance. I just handed it to him. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Like we're just so happy to have you.
And
today.
This is yours. Please be seated.
All right. Speaking of absolute demolitions, yes, Colts and the Dolphins. We've absolutely
covered
hammered.
that. Unfortunately,
we've covered that well and truly. Managing editor of ESPN Australia, Stu Rand will be happy about that. But the Colts, look, Daniel Jones' life. We shall see. Again, this is a weak one that's not no reaction I want to make.
Well, I didn't think the Giants were good. I know we'll get to that, but maybe they could use Daniel, but they got Jackson Dart and others.
Yeah, I think the Russell Wilson moonball is back, is less back. Maybe we're moonwalking that take a little. Raiders Patriots 20-13. I was hoping for a bit more from a Drake May coming out party.
Well, I was really high on Drake. Picked him up because late in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, because him over Kendrick too.
Yeah. But good gear. Hey Drake. I disappointed, I think, because I was really, I know you're high on him as well. A lot of those, like, your Josh Allen's and like they're going high in fantasy drafts. And I was like, I think you get Drake, he's good with his legs and throws, but yeah, just a little disappointed with how they looked. First game of the season though. So, you do have to give some, even though we've been hard on a lot of teams. I said, Miami, you're eliminated. It's the first game of the season.
That's fine. You also invoked a political leader to do it.
Right out of here. I like Drake. I like some of the songs. I like the hotline bling. Good people.
But yeah, I think Raiders, Bowers. We'll touch on Bowers a little later.
Genty, what do you think? Was it 38 yards?
It was trudging. It was trudging. Not a lot of.
There. You know what I'd hate if I was an NFL player, and that obviously will never happen at any point, and it could never happen. But your first touchdown is always something you're going to be like shown again and again.
Yeah.
And it's just a very anti-climax because he falls and then he tries to go up to be like, I'm the man, and then someone's trying to help him, and that's all I thought. I was like, oh.
Yeah. It wasn't exactly a break glass, stop everything. This is a moment.
Yeah.
No, this game was trudging in general. Like, I think, we're talking about Kayshon Boutte as the top receiver for
Big Boutte guy
for the Patriots. Bowers, while I was talking about inevitable, he gets his. He also got a little beat up in this one. But look, not a great deal to take away other than that I was hoping for a little more from the Patriots and started to get that feeling again about there's limitations on the skill position. I think that we're talking about panics.
Yeah.
Panic stations. The Travion Henderson fantasy panic stations are on high alert. I think they shouldn't be. It's week one. You'll be right. He got workload, but I think people are hoping for a big splash. While we're on 20-13 Cardinals Saints, panic stations again. The Marvin Harrison, it took 15 minutes and Marvin Harrison Jr. hate was wild.
Yeah.
And then he took a huge catch down the sideline and then got a design target red zone hit for a touchdown. So breathe.
Yeah.
But look, this is the Saints.
And he's now the biggest human ever. Just decided to eat all the protein and lift all the weights.
Which was it was a story in the offseason. You see someone turn up in a tank top to a press conference and you go, yeah, right. But then to see him out there,
he's a monster.
It's noticeable. But look, positives there. There's Trey Benson had his moments on the ground. Is James Conner finally going to hand over a mantle? But look, Kyler Murray, it's bits and pieces. It's the mobility you see. It's a downfield connection, and there's a lot of inconsistency. And look, anytime you get the win, but you get outproduced by Spencer Rattler. You're not exactly lighting fire under the. Could he be?
Saints fans. This is the podcast. Going, hey, we got mentioned. Hey,
we're in here.
It's our quarterback.
Alvin Kamara got
Someone
in.
just scrubbing through the podcast. Skip.
Just Saints mentioned. Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara getting in for a touchdown in the year 2025 still makes me smile.
Yeah.
Just an all-round good guy, fantasy. A fantasy legend who's put up some of the most ridiculous games.
Stats,
so
scored touchdowns.
But, Chris Olave playing the what's the dance where you put one foot in and one foot out?
The
The
hokey pokey.
Yeah, like he's in, he's out, he's out. Oh, it's an arm, leg, knee.
Yeah.
I'm just mixing up heads and shoulders,
Elbows,
knees
they
and toes.
count.
Yeah,
Elbows count when you.
elbows count. We might touch on that.
Dak spat first, and elbows count. is the
Yeah,
name of the
Titans fans,
podcast.
elbows count.
Yeah.
You know what? So did Han, and that's fine. Now, big one, right? Steelers Jets, 34-32. This was a belter. Also was on one of the ESPN/Disney games, which was fantastic. The Aaron Rodgers revenge game, also the Jets revenge game, 34-32. Rodgers, gets the 4 touchdowns. Justin Fields has a massive day, especially in fantasy as well, but a big day for a passing standpoint as well. We saw him navigate pressure. We saw him deliver from the pocket. We saw him operate out of structure, structure.
He made big throws.
He hit different parts of the field that he's been critiqued for.
Yeah.
So I think, when looking at this one, I know who took the win here. I know the Steelers walked away with the win, but I think I was more impressed with what I saw from Justin Fields than I was Aaron Rodgers.
It's a great. I know they lost, but I was more impressed.
I was.
I think the hard thing about Aaron Rodgers is like what we've seen over the last couple of seasons, right? But also with the injury, so he essentially doesn't play a season, and then he comes back and some of the passes and stuff, like he's not passing downfield, he's passing sort of sideways, and he made some of those passes that I didn't think he had in his wheelhouse anymore. But then you cannot tell me at that press conference when he's like, "I'm happy that I beat everyone in the Jets or defeated everyone in the Jets organization," or whatever the wording was. I'm paraphrasing, but there's no way he didn't want to come out and win that game.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has that in him every week.
Nope.
Again, we need to see it long term. I'm not going to be suddenly like Aaron Rodgers the MVP over one game with 2 points, which also, Wilson drops that ball because he gets smacked. Ramsey hits him hard.
Big proper form. As much as form hits are not always in vogue in the NFL, they're a little, rather than the, heads up, head to the side, eyes up, heads to the right side of the hip that we get taught in Australia. There's a little more, I'm going to throw everything I can at you in whatever order that my limbs arrive.
They were talking
nonstop.
Yeah.
The blocking was going well and truly after the whistle. Look, Rodgers,
the hand holding, I love to say that. It's a bit of positivity.
It's nice to connect.
Yeah.
It's important, guys. Where we follow this sport, we get up at weird hours. It's important to keep those connections. Right. Look, with Rodgers, the live arm is still there. I still saw some stuff in the pocket where he does the escapability isn't there. He does do that old man thing, which they kind of crumple under the pocket when it gets a little messy in there. And I will say the 4 touchdown passes. There's one rolling to his right, the last one, which is a little deeper into the end zone. Yeah. Nice. The other ones, he wasn't exactly firing lasers into tight windows. It was very well schemed up.
But to that point of I think he looked differently than he did last year. But also it's the first game of the season, which they've had a lot of time together, the Steelers, and there's no way he would beat the Jets, knowing who Rodgers is.
And that Steelers defense is meant to be a strength. And those 32 points well and truly given up to the Justin Fields offense. Right, Giants Commanders 21-6. This felt like two teams in two different tiers. I think Jaden Daniels was solid without being spectacular. I think, honestly, the moment of this game is the Bill coming to life.
Yeah. Do we still know why he decided to call himself Bill?
It's because when he was a kid, he had a really short shaved haircut and looked like a character Bill from a TV show. Not a TV show that ran in Australia.
Sure.
But
Jacory, I just thought he woke up one day and was like, I'm going to be Bill.
Yep. Jacory,
I'd love that night. That would be a great story.
But
I come in next week and I'm like, it's Steve.
You have these players that enter your life as an NFL fan, and you're not sure that are actually real. Tom Savage is one of those. He was a mythical quarterback. People used to post pictures of ghosts and say this was Tom Savage, this mythical developmental guy they had. There was a bit of that about Bill, but to come out and bounce out nice little touchdown to the outside.
Also, wasn't he the whole thing? I drafted him as well. We spoke about this in fantasy, because he people weren't picking him, right? And you could get him late in the draft as well.
And then it picked up steam.
But he got listed at, was it 4th on the depth chart?
Yeah, don't believe depth charts for week 1. Just don't. The panic that was going on, the memes that were going on, the DMs that were received, panic stations about Bill, panic stations about different rookie running backs that were listed at 3 or at 2 when clearly they're the best guy. Yeah, there was
2 yards, 1 touchdown for the 4th. How did the other 3 go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're still waiting for Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah,
big
Chris
game.
Rodriguez,
Big game. Yeah. So look, I look forward to seeing this Commanders team and seeing Jaden Daniels against sterner opposition, especially with the idea that could he have a CJ Stroud step back?
As two teams that I'll see a lot
Yep.
as an Eagles fan. I don't think Commanders really got out of second gear. I don't think they needed to.
Nope.
The Giants are a bit of a mess. I don't know what they're doing with Russell. I mean, I don't know when you got to give Jackson a look at some point. I don't think that's anytime soon, though. I think it'd be dumb to put him in next week.
This will be the Brian Daboll and Joe Shane survival plan, which is play Russell for a bit, and then when it's not looking good, but maybe your offensive line has gelled a bit, Andrew Thomas, their star left tackle's out, maybe he's back on the paddock.
Yeah.
Then you put Jackson Dart in slightly better circumstances.
Yeah.
Maybe he wins more than he loses. You can say arrows pointing up, keep us around.
Correct.
That's
Because that defense is Abdul Carter will be the best player out of that draft, I think. I'm dirty. We were never going to get him at the Eagles, but a Penn State guy.
But you guys always believe you can.
It's a power of positive thinking. We've managed to pull off some great.
You guys had the temerity, you had the stones, the gumption, the audacity to actually go and try and put a trade offer in for Micah.
I know.
And it might have been a bigger offer than
I would have loved to know what we offered for Micah. Like I really would have. AJ would have had to be in. I think
it was 2 firsts and a third and a fifth. I think that was the reporting. And the Cowboys. I mean, as we know, they wanted to stop the run. Kenny Clark.
But also it's Jerry. He might have traded it to us. That noise there. Can we isolate that and repeat it? That's the noise of a Cowboys fan.
There's so many lines I like to think that surely the insanity had stopped there, but I've been proven wrong over the past couple of decades. All right, Panthers, Jags.
Oh, your boy.
Panthers, Jags, Trevor Lawrence, 20.
Bryce Young, come back.
Come
back to Bama.
Yeah, might need to. It was
after our first week.
Yeah, this was. I think the takeaway is that don't bury Etienne yet, because everyone was lining up, whether it was for Tootin or for Bigsby or for whoever they were going to promote off practice squad. Everyone was out on Etienne, and he goes for $143. But look, this was there's not a lot that needs to be said out of this belter between an NFC South and an AFC South stalwart teams. Look, sad to see that this wasn't a step forward after what we saw from Bryce Young.
Yeah.
But again, week one, he needs time with Ted McMillan. But look, that Jaguars team kind of handled this thing. All right, Broncos. This is a disappointment. I think for both teams. Broncos 20, Titans 12. I think Titans would have liked to see a little more than some flashes from Tony Pollard and Cam Ward in some bad situations with the Broncos. This was this was the type of week one opener you want to say, hey, we're going to be a bolter to the Final Four in the AFC. Like, we're coming.
Well, I was high on Bo in fantasy as well, in real life, in both. But yeah, that was awful. And he didn't face heaps of pressure, but when he did, he was just awful. 2 interceptions, lost fumble. I'm like, what are you doing?
The decision making, the vision. It was just like some of those throws were indefensible.
Yeah.
Especially when he exceeded expectations by a mile in season one.
Yeah.
He's got a good offensive line in front of him. He's got a hell of an offensive mind at head coach. I don't think any of us are blown away by the skill position talent, but that was the type of game that when we talk about second-year quarterbacks taking a step back and so much attention on Jaden because he was the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more needed to be paid attention to. Bo perhaps taking.
I'm still, look, I'm not off Bo. I think I saw too much last year that I was like, this guy actually has it, whatever it is. You go back to that, like they win, they get the W. Like I think it'd be more of a narrative if they somehow managed to lose that game. They still won. I'm still, big on him. He looked good with Sutton. Like there was a few, connections there, but otherwise it looked a bit jarring with some of the other receivers.
You could hear yelling going on that. I think the second interception. You could hear yelling going on during the play. It sounded chaotic, and it looked chaotic there for a bit. 49ers Seahawks 17-13. 49ers get hurt. George Kittle gets hurt in this one. Christian McCaffrey plays after everyone panicked about the calf that came up, but these two play each other have played each other in massive spots over the past decade or two as the Seahawks had their emergence. But look, it wasn't a shining start for Sam Darnold either. I think there was some decision making and some accuracy stuff there that I think there was a lot of hope that Cooper Kupp could come in and allow them not to lose too much with DK Metcalf. But
he's all these things with slants. Like it didn't look good. It didn't look good.
Footing was rough.
Maybe there's a reason, Rams let him go.
Yeah,
essentially.
especially when you see some. It wasn't a huge a prolific day for Devontae Adams, the Rams. But on that Rams game, the Rams do enough. Stafford doesn't light it up. A solid Stafford day against a good defense. 245 and a touchdown. And Puka Nacua is the story from this one because that man had his face cut open, got that stitched up. Then the padding didn't work on the face cut. He was bleeding small, had to go off. Then he got back out there. In between all this, he's taking these huge catches over the middle, taking massive shots. Then he gets pulled off because we just want to check that you don't have a concussion. Then he goes back onto the field to run block.
You're
actually
surprised. You don't have every medical thing that you should have one. You don't have one. He's like, yes.
Yeah. It's just smiling because he's a lovely man. They send him back out there to run block for a touchdown. And then, it ends up with 10 for 130. Puka Nacua, a big day. The other worry for me is that the Texans, that offensive line looked worst in class on paper. And, only 3 sacks for CJ Stroud, but that offense didn't look like it set the platform for anything. Nick Chubb, it's over 4 yards a carry, and that's fine, but man, quite
Stafford, 60,000 yards for his career.
There we go. We love Matthew Stafford.
I still don't think he makes it to the end of the season. This back thing. No, I mean, you and I chatted about this from different people. I just feel like there's something, I don't know, something we're not hearing. I heard he got, they looked at moving him in the offseason. I think if you're all in on someone, especially at the quarterback position, you just don't move them.
Well, I think we've got 2 quarterbacks off the top that we're going to have a little disagreement on because Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford are firmly in my stable.
Guys.
Stable of boys.
Lions Packers,
because we touched on Ravens Bills at the top. So Lions Packers to close out. Look, this was.
I wrote down Lions Packers. Bring Ben Johnson back.
It was the designs. Jameer Gibbs definitely didn't have the right shoes on.
Gibbs caught 10 passes for 31 receiving yards, the fewest in the history of the game when someone's had at least 10 catches.
It was.
He also knows to have a punter, right? They can kick.
That performance, like seeing him, the balance and the gliding way that he plays the game and how electric he is, to see him slipping and falling all over the springtime tundra or whatever it is, fall time tundra there in Lambeau. It was messy. It was disjointed, and it looked in massive neon letters. It was where's Ben Johnson? It was that big a piece of the puzzle that they just pulled out. And
I actually was totally on the fence because I'm like, surely you don't unlearn so many of those things. But then it's but who is then? It goes back to the question of who is making those decisions then? Right? Is it, because their teams are different, right? You still have your offensive and defensive coordinators, but sometimes the head coach is making more of those decisions.
Exactly.
Why they're feeding them the information. Yeah. Is this a team where Ben Johnson was basically calling all those plays?
Well, yeah.
It was very weird.
And Dan Campbell's he's certainly known as a rah-rah leader. He's a walk-around head coach. He doesn't command one side of the ball.
Like, this guy.
He's the president, like that. It's that walk-around CEO type role at head coach. And that offense combined with Ben Johnson leaving and some changes on that line, that felt a little disjointed. It felt desperate. Some of those receptions, big receptions from guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, they had carried desperation that you didn't feel.
But they kept throwing to Gibbs as well, and I'm like, admittedly it was slipping over. We mentioned it, but it just didn't. It felt like there were other. You could go somewhere else. You could do something else.
I think that's a team that, again, week 1. That's a team that I think if you had expectations that they were just going to roll off from where they left, it's one, that's not how the NFL works, but 2, that those changes that they've had meant that a step back, at least in the first half of the season, was always going to come. A lot of faith in the quality of the head coach. They've invested in talent on the defensive side. Hutchinson's back. Yeah. So there's reason to believe, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at this team over the first month and a half of the season, they're around 500, and then they catch fire and we start hearing about the Lions faithful coming out to roar and carry on again. But that gets us across the league in quick time. But I want to transition to another one because we've spent time at the top line, but now we need to get a little, not judgmental, but, with morals come into this. We've got a little segment called Dawg or
Dawg. D-A-W-G. Hey, I'm a dog here.
I'm going to give that pronunciation spelling to Jimmy every single week. And I want to start, where else are we going to start but
Spitgate?
Spitgate. Right. Let's just lay it out. Jalen Carter sent off before the first defensive snap for him and the Eagles, first offensive snap for the Cowboys. Ejected, disqualified from the game. Clearly showed spitting.
Yeah.
Then around halftime, we start to hear some murmurs. I think Nick Harris, one of the reporters, said, hey, some context. It appears like Dak spat at the ground, spat near, something
Dak
like
spat
that.
first.
And that's
Don't
and
let
then,
this media, these ESPN
and
types
then-
lead you. I'm one of the people.
And then
This guy's been reporting for years, and he's biased.
yeah, hugely. Jalen Carter then spits directly onto Dak's chest.
Hey,
torso.
towards him, he didn't land.
It very much did. So
Allegedly.
then the film comes out of and what Dak said was
At the press
going
conference
on
as well.
at the
He's
press
talking
conference
about it.
is that he was, Jalen Carter was out of his huddle. He was walking towards the Cowboys huddle. He was chirping and he was trying to get into Tyler Booker, Alabama,
Roll Tide.
trying to get into his ear, trying to rattle the rookie.
And a Georgia Bulldog there. They've got that's history.
There's heat. There's
Yeah.
heat there. Dak wasn't having any of it. So he started, "Oh, what's up, big fella?" And then through the shoulders of his bigger offensive lineman, little spit towards the ground.
Oh, towards the ground, was it?
Absolutely. Go
It's
look
just
at the
Carter
film.
just had to be in that position.
So here's what I'm going to say. I would say Carter at the time was about 5 meters away from Dak.
Mm.
Yep. I'd say when Jalen Carter spat Dak, what was he, about 2 inches away from Dak?
Oh, it's hard. I wasn't there. It's hard to tell.
Do Eagles fans know the difference between 5 and 2? I won't even use the yards. Do you guys know the difference between 5 and 2?
Yeah, I think so.
I can pull up some images.
Images,
Yeah, shiny silver ones.
Yeah.
So look, Dak spat first, but I think this was a case of, we're talking dog or
Dawg.
I think this is
Dawg.
I think this is completely the latter from Dak. I think this is showing sass, showing cheek, and also showing PhD level psychological warfare, knowing that I've got a player here who's had some questionable decision making and plays pretty hot. And I reckon I can rile him up here and stir him up and draw him into something just a little bit silly.
Like 100%. I think, yeah, you're right. It pains me as an Eagles fan. And
You got the win.
We got the win. I think we made it so much harder on ourselves. I said to you before, I'm like, he gets sent out like, it's not even a minute in, is it? It's like less than a minute.
No, he didn't
Right?
play a snap. It
No.
was
And we
fresh
had-
off the kickoff.
We lost people on the defensive side of the ball, arguably our best defensive player.
Yep.
And there was no way we planned have a game where he's not there for the entirety of it.
Mm-hmm.
It completely threw us on defense. And yeah, he baited him. Like, I was with a friend of mine, Jesse Williams, went to band with me, and he was there with him. And he's like, he knew what he was doing.
Yep.
He was spitting at him, even though it was 5 away. He knew that, like, but again, he
In the
knew it was
direction.
in the
Yeah.
direction of.
Short of.
Look at him in the eyes, and he smiles because he smiles.
Yeah, give him a little wink.
Yeah,
Little,
and then
"Hey,
he
how you
does what was it, the post-match press conference? He's like, I'm a big spitter. I like
Yeah,
to spit.
I
I got
spit
to
a lot.
spit. Sorry, it's
Spit
bad.
1,000 times a game.
Yeah, for the kids. And yeah, he baited him, and Carter fell for it. And if you're going to bait anyone, it's him.
Yeah.
He's a hot head.
Yep.
And he fell for it. And I think in this case, Dak is the DAWG. That's a good thing. He's a dog.
And what do we think about Jalen Carter's action? I think that's straight up DOJ.
Yeah.
Spitting on someone is
Spitting on someone is one of the worst things you can do.
It
And
is.
like, yeah, like it just shouldn't have done it. Like, even you got baited, right? And you shouldn't let yourself get baited. But like, Dak knew what he was doing by
course he
doing
did.
that, and you just can't
Dak
do that.
said
'cause, like,
afterwards, we got to change our whole blocking scheme.
Yeah.
He's like,
because he based that to like the Eagles planned to have him there.
Yeah.
The Cowboys wouldn't have thought in their wildest dreams that he's not going to be there.
we're doubling 98 every snap.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Like, it just.
Yeah.
But I think this becomes such a bigger story if we don't win.
Yeah.
Like it. Like, I know that it's very easy to say that, but like, it would be such a huge thing if we came out post Super Bowl, world champions.
Yep.
Even though technically we know. Well,
Yeah.
you know, we're not
World.
playing the
World.
Australian gridiron team.
Quake
We're
Cooper's
putting
Cooper
Yeah.
slinging it about.
Yeah.
All reports.
But like, if we lost to the Cowboys,
Yeah.
at home,
On Coronation Night.
oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, he's so lucky. Like, we're obviously a ravenous fan base, and we're angry when we win. Like, we should have won by more. That was a good thing about Super Bowl. Like, we
You couldn't have won by
more. I know, we destroyed them. Like, there would have been angry Philly fans but they would there are, and I've seen commentary online saying like there are some because we're idiots as well. Shout out to my Eagles fans, I love you guys.
Yes,
But,
not
like,
the most balanced.
Yeah, I'm not either. That's why I'm part of the crew, guys. But it's fun. It's part of my appeal. It's part of my charm. Yes, it was Dawg. He shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have got baited. Does it surprise me? No.
No.
Do I want to give Dak a very small applaud? Yeah, it nearly won you guys a game.
Good for the rivalry too. Good for the NFC. Look,
Good for this. Like,
look, I said this is a People Show, guys. We know there's going to be NFC East football on television. Like that's happening. There's always going to be a lot of NFC East primetime games. This is good for that because we came into this season going, Eagles are class of division. We'll see what Washington can do. Cowboys trending wrong direction. Giants have 19 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
One of them's James. Like that's not a lot of competitive friction and energy that I think we came in about this division. Now we had a tight game, we had spice, and it was the flip of the coin, right? If Cowboys win, it's what would the Eagles have done with Jalen Carter out there? Instead, it's what would the Cowboys have done with Micah out there?
Yes.
And frankly, the other one I just want to throw out there, watch out, because when these two teams play again, I think this player will be back from injury. What would they done with DeMarvion Overshown out there? Actually, someone able to spy Jalen Hurts, which they couldn't. Right.
Yeah.
Dog. Jalen Ramsey.
I mean, I love it. He's a dog. He just hits him so hard.
That hit on Garrett Wilson.
Bang. And he gets it. He gets the ball.
Yep.
For like a brief moment, and you can feels like, if you pause it here, you can see the exact moment his heart breaks into. Because he thinks he's done it.
Yeah. I've made the responsible decision. I've hit my guy.
Yeah, he's out of the pocket. You see it? There's my guy. Hit him on the chest.
Yep.
And then he is just bent over.
And these two were chirping all game, extended blocks, plenty of colorful language, good stuff. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
From two franchises that aren't known for offensive explosion, they're known for hard-hitting defense. That's the culture of these two. So it was nice that in a game that cleared 60 points, that we had some good, proper defensive moment to clearing it up. And look, Jalen Ramsey, love him or hate him, and he's divisive. I get that, but like, love him or hate him, that's a way to endear yourself to Steelers fans. That's what they live off.
But that's like that's to me those moments as well that like I have non-NFL fans in my life who are intrigued, right? Because with the game coming to Australia now, so there is a bit like, I might check this thing out. Yep. That the moment's like people going, wow, have you seen this? Yep. The highlight plays.
Exactly.
So like I'm a huge fan. I will say I didn't tell you as well. One thing that you talk about is for the kids, right? You want to see good things on TV because the kids see it. You got a young boy yourself.
I do. Yes.
He's impressionable.
Very.
You know who's impressionable as well? Drunk men. I was at an Eagles watch party, and then men thought it'd be funny to spit on each other after Spitgate. It's just a bunch of drunk guys like recreating it, and I'm like, we're gonna have to leave.
We're a classy nation.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
our culture is very, very special.
Yeah.
Right, last one here. Lamar Jackson versus Bills fan. So if you didn't catch this was circulating around TikTok, Twitter, TikTok for the short version, Twitter for the extended cut.
Yeah.
After the Nuke Hopkins one-handed screamer, still got it.
Yeah.
Not fully washed yet.
He's got great hands. I've shook his hands. They're big hands.
Let me tell you.
I love having his hands.
There's
a guy's hands you want to shake. I've shaken a lot.
And then while we're on hands, you got a couple of Ravens players walking by the sideline.
So the first clip I sent you, I missed it. I just saw.
Well, that was all that was.
Yeah.
That clip was just short, and it was just the kind of them going back and forth. But the longer cut, you see that there's a Bills fan, young adult-ish, looks like. Yep.
Early 20s, maybe?
Yeah, it could be. And he's kind of slapping the heads of these Ravens players as he goes by. And Lamar's having absolutely none of it. And there's a little push and shove that goes on there. Look, we've seen enough over the, Malice in the Palace. Fans versus players in stadium, not good. Lamar Jackson getting someone's hands off him, absolutely defensible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, first time to the podcast, I don't know what you can and can't say, but it's talk shit, get hit.
You can't cross that line as a fan. You can't cross it. What do you?
It's just so dumb. You can't touch them. Like, what do you? And look, this does happen, right? Well, fans throw something or whatever. I'm like, what do you even here in Australia, right?
Yep.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what? In what world do you think gives you the right to be able to put your hands on? Like,
also think about one, what right, and two, look at the opposition you're risking that against. Like this,
I know as well. That's the other thing too. I'm like, these are like
upstairs for thinking, guys.
You know, we should go around the ESPN offices and just tap people on the head.
Yeah, see what the response is. Yeah. We've got to watch out. There's a circle there of the very strong gym crew that we probably
we can
especially need to.
Yeah, we can find punters and kickers.
Just let's use our heads when they're out there. Like,
it was a dog act by the fan.
It was a dog act by the fan.
Don't touch players
as well. Not just violent, but also demeaning.
Like panning him on the head. Like,
so let's be better. Bills fans get a lot of love, right? You crash through tables. You channel the energy of the Dudley boys from the late 90s. We get it. Like, Bills fans get the tables. That's great. But keep it a little classier. I know the bar's not that high.
Well, look, as an Eagles fan, I can't comment.
No, you guys eat interesting things on the way to Super Bowls.
As an Eagles fan, we've done nothing problematic at any point ever.
No. They're very clean skin organization. Yeah,
you can see why I like them.
Model
Just
franchise.
a bunch of chill guys.
Yeah, you guys are super chill. Super chill. All right. Now, what isn't always chill after week one is the emotions that us as fans feel. So, segueing nicely into the hot mic brought
Yep.
to you by Macca's. We have a couple of voice notes sent in from fans that I have right here. And this is a place to emote. This is a place to cathartic. This is where you share, get it off your chest. You know, it's been a big day. You felt a lot of things.
You've been up early. You're tired. Send them later because you'll send really things that you might regret.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, like 9 coffees into an afternoon beer or 2 into then another coffee because you're getting sleepy into a voice note is good areas. Perfect. But let's start here. We mentioned the Titans are disappointing. This one's from Kieran Lomax. And he has some very, very clear thoughts about Brian Callahan, head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
Brian Callahan, gone by week 6. He was almost fired in the offseason. The reports came out without that. You come into today against a really good team. You managed to get 4 turnovers, and you've turned it into 6 points.
Not good math.
I think the game plan was just not there, and I think his in-game coaching just isn't there either. Running when he should have thrown when he should have run. In the post-game press conference, he even didn't understand what the catch rule, which is insane. And I would recommend everyone to go watch the final offensive drive from the Titans in the first half. You backed up on your own goal line against the best pass rush in the NFL from last year, and we threw the ball 3 times. Or he went to throw the ball 3 times.
Kieran's not feeling good. Titans fans aren't feeling good. The bit that got me there, and that's the bit we know, like working in media, there's things there's storylines and inflection points and little turning points on narratives that hit, and you cannot move off them. Not knowing the catch rule. And for those that want context, basically there was a catch by a receiver, one of the Titans receivers, down the sideline where he goes to ground. And it's touch and go whether he's inbounds. The replay showed that his elbow was down. For those that don't know, elbow equals 2 feet. The same as knee down equals 2 feet. But one cheek, 2 feet. That's the rule. That's a football rule. Don't take that out in the real world. But that's the rule.
2 cheeks, really don't.
and then for him to get up at the press conference and say, no, he doesn't need just one elbow. He needs feet as well. And that is not the rule. That's just a tough look to get by. Not knowing the catch rule is going to be something that media and fans are going to be able to grab onto and just hold.
Yeah, constantly. Like, there's like a lot of stuff that, still slips my mind, right? And a lot of fans. Yeah. But then there's the other side of the fans who are like know everything, right? Like super deep, knowledgeable, know playbooks, right? Yep. Not even from seeing one, just watching so much of their own team that they can understand the scheme stuff they're running. Mm-hmm. But like, that's just inexcusable as like the head coach. Like, you just can't do that. Like, as to your point though, because it gets taken, right? And for the rest of the season, or 6 weeks he has left, people just keep playing that clip or talking about it and killing him and going, mate, you should have done this, should have done this, you should know this. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I don't think the expectations were super high for Tennessee.
No, but I mean, I like Cam Ward a lot, and I think it wasn't a pretty day statistically, but there's moments where you saw him navigating the pocket and finally connecting with guys like Calvin Ridley downfield where that gives you hope, but
and the Broncos have got some dogs on defense too.
And Kieran can see that, right? It's good defense. Yeah. Pat Surtain he's going to be a defensive player of the year contender. Roll Tide. It's Alabama Eagles podcast. What have I signed myself up to? Go NC State Wolfpack. I can't sing again. Yeah, don't make me sing again. I've already done it multiple times.
No, don't make me sing. You're making me sing.
You know what? Sad thing. Story time quickly.
Yeah.
Mum made me join the choir when I was in year 3. Oof, tough.
It's one of those things you're going to regret, like not knowing the elbow rule.
Yeah.
It's your version of it. Is that footage?
Probably.
Roll clip.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I did sing on a Discovery Channel thing. Our school choir sang it at some sort of Earth event at the Opera House. It was on Discovery Channel, so that's tough. I was so upset. I was so upset that I made it. When they announced the choir, they put it as they used to back in the old days when kids got hard news pretty quickly. They just put a list up that everyone got to see if you made the choir, if you sang well enough.
You got cut?
No, I made it as a soprano, which was tough. It was tough as a 9-year-old boy. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I was crying. There were a lot of kids crying because they didn't make it. I cried it because I did make it.
Because you made it, yeah.
Yeah.
At least you weren't in the world of social media.
Yeah, and without getting into areas, it also led to one of the most harrowing memories of my life that occurred at music camp later that year. But that's for another podcast.
Stick
Just
around,
episode
yeah.
1. That's what we call a tease in the industry.
Yeah, we have Laurie's sad stories.
Yes, yeah.
It's one a week.
Football related or
Yeah.
not.
It could be the Dallas Cowboys. It could be his childhood. Find out next week.
So, look, I have no idea how we actually got there. But Tennessee
Sad.
Titans,
Tennessee
sad.
Titans. Not knowing that. Yeah, he could be. What do you think? Could be gone?
I think he's a
He
candidate.
comes from where was he last? Cincinnati.
He was a Cincinnati guy.
And
right?
you love the Bengals.
I love the Bengals, and I love the Bengals when he was there. Look, and he's got his dad, Brian Callahan. His dad, Bill Callahan, is known as Running Game Moses, and one of the great run game designers in the NFL. But yeah, look, it's a tough start. But let's swing positive, right? Because the hot mic, it's open, right? It's not just melancholic spoken word. We can swing the other way, and for that, we do have Ben, who is feeling a certain way about the debut of one receiver that resides in the NFC South.
Gents, let's talk about and get excited about the rookie sensation that was Emeka Egbuka today. Incredible performance, 2 touchdowns, 67 yards, and a rush for 9 yards on debut with some slick route running. I think we have an early candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I'm very excited to see what he does for the rest of the season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Beautiful work there from Ben. Here's the thing. Those first names that came off the board for Rookie of the Year favoritism. Ashton Genty, O'Marion Hampton, Ted McMillan, and then you get to the quarterbacks.
Cam Ward.
Yeah. Then
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. Bit of this, bit of that from Travis Hunter. Emeka Egbuka was down in kind of the mid-teens in terms of odds and all that kind of stuff. He was there along with Travion Henderson. There was not a lot of rookie shining going on today.
No.
Outside of when you look at Bill, when you look at a 7th rounder, outside of that, this was Emeka Egbuka with 2 touchdowns and clutch plays, the game-winning plays. Yeah. This was
he can get up.
A monstrous performance. I know Ben, for a fact, is a big fan of the Buckeyes, so I know this speaks closely to him. But this is a massive way to splash. And honestly, hot mic, I don't even think this is a hot take. I think this is a beauty. I think he's absolutely a money. We've got a front runner right off the bat.
Yeah, I was looking online. He's around like 3rd favorite now for Offensive Rookie of the Year,
and he was about 8th before. It was him and Travion Henderson were kind of in that mid-teens.
Everyone's been saying how good he is. Like everyone I've seen.
Yeah. The drum beat's been clear.
Yeah, I went. I think nearly. in 11 of my 12 drafts, I have him.
So much about that.
My fancy drafts,
It's concerning.
But yeah, I didn't start him in all of them, by the way, but I have him. Completely behind him. And I think I think people have spoken about the sort of receiving core there at the Buccaneers as well, a few injuries and stuff. He can just go up and get that ball. Like he is athletically a freak. I think I'll tell you, I'll try and give a hotter take because I think this isn't that hot, right? Because I think he is, and so today, he's that good. You're talking about his, college. They've produced some great wide receivers, but I think he ends up being better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
And he wasn't the sexiest one
Nope.
at that school. They've had a lot, Garrett Wilson was flashier. Chris Olave was flashier. Yeah. Marvin Harrison got all the appreciation. Emeka Egbuka was this dude is really good. He's really good at everything. I don't know if he's elite at anything. He's one of the best teammates, and he's an awesome blocker. He got tagged as a better version of Robert Woods.
Yeah.
He didn't get the sexy shine that the others do. You're right. And what he put out there today from a game-breaking ability, because it wasn't just the doing a good job in all these little facets. He's a game-breaker today.
Yeah. That was the difference. You talk about teams that be able to have that little switch or that thing or that person, and he had it.
You got a quarterback that believes in himself. Baker will never stop believing in himself. And if you are looking at an NFC where a couple of teams are not the overly formidable force they were last year.
Yeah.
You get to week 7 and we're talking about healthy Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Emeka Egbuka and Bucky Irving.
Bucky's great today, yeah.
Get the offensive line a little healthier. They've got some big names coming back at different points of the season as well. That's a lot of fun, but no, I like what Ben's throwing down there. While we're on the receiver position, we did have one more submitted. Unfortunately, the audio that the quality just wasn't quite there.
No, it was there. I think Laurie deleted it.
I think maybe it was a little tear stained.
Yeah.
When you cry on the speaker,
Yeah.
it really impacts audio.
Laurie had to
quality.
buy a new phone. You send us in the DMs, you can DM us, and then Laurie was just sobbing into his phone. He's like, "Oh, Jim, we've lost the audio."
Look, I live an interesting sporting life. There's not a lot of love there's not a lot of glory that comes from my fandom at this point. I think I got it all out of my system with the 30-8 victory for the my former love, the Roosters, over the Warriors in the early 2000s.
Some rugby league chat.
And since then, it's been pretty dreary. Maybe a Swans flag in there.
What NRL player do you think will play in the NFL, Laurie?
Oh, it's 2015 all over again. Why haven't I aged backwards? All right. So from Jason Kent.
Let's compare teams. Who are the Buccaneers in Australia? Sorry, continue.
No. Can CeeDee be considered elite with the drops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's that good.
Yeah.
Like, it broke some people's brains in a fantasy draft where I picked him as an Eagles fan. I picked him over my very own Saquon. And that's a lot to do with, I just don't know if Saquon has that year again, like in terms of volume. I don't know if we use him the same way, again. That's not to say I'm super high. Like, I'm still obviously love my birds, but I just think CD was, especially in fantasy, was a leading receiver, a couple of year before?
Yeah, that whole
2 years
offense
ago?
was a bit beat up, but 2 years ago he was absolutely lights out.
But I think he's that good.
He led the league in receptions 2 years ago. Yeah, 135.
I think he's a good. I think, unfortunately, players can make mistakes. There are a couple of big drops there. But I think like the great players, they don't not have mistakes. They bounce back from where they come back. It's the next game. Like, I need to see what CD does. Who do you guys have next?
The Giants.
Oh.
They call that a get-right game in the industry, folks. Look, the thing with CeeDee Lamb is that he's not the absolute Velcro-handed receiver through huge contact that someone maybe like a Jamar Chase is, maybe Justin Jefferson. That's the two he's going to get comped to, right?
Correct.
Those two get 1 and 2, and he's right there. And in any season,
great company to have.
He can pip them for an all-pro first-team nod any year if he's on his absolute best game. He's still really tough over the middle. He's taken some great catches, but he's known to have the ball dislodged every now and then. But one, accountability. He was walking along the sidelines just tapping his chest, being like, this one's on me.
Yeah.
Like, Dak's putting ridiculous seeds out there, and I'm just,
even that,
I didn't complete it. So that's a good sign. And two, last year he was 89th in drop rate. Yeah. Right. So in a good way.
Yeah.
So he was 89th. He had the 89th.
Don't hold that face for too long.
Out of all the drop rates, really hope we were on the wide shot there. Out of all receivers, his drop rate was 89th out of qualifying. And if you're first, you're bad.
Yes.
So first is worst.
Yeah.
Second's the not best.
Best.
So he was 89th. And then 2 seasons ago, he was, I'm looking down here, he was 129th in drop rate. So hands are not an issue for
but I just look, he's not Jefferson. That's fine. He's not Chase. That's fine as well.
He's that little.
Even though Chase is very quiet, shout out to fantasy. Yeah. If anyone drafted him first,
and then Jefferson tomorrow, we'll say.
But that's, I don't know. There's a thing I think in football, especially fandom, where like we really go hard on other players, especially like other team players. Yeah. But the reality is, if that player was available to you and your team, you would take him in a heartbeat. Yeah. Right. And I think a lot of people, gave some shit to CD, including myself, to you. I said some things to Laurie via text that I definitely can't repeat on the podcast. Correct. But did I mean them? Yes. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Anyway, sorry. But I think that's in jest, because the reality is, like, I think he is like, a top 3, top 5 receiver in the league. And I don't think that just happens, but that's his limitation. He doesn't, to your point, he doesn't have those Velcro hands. Yep. He has dropped stuff through contact. Yep. Does it mean other teams wouldn't have him if he just suddenly became available? No.
I got a question for you. Yeah. Straight up trade 1-for-1, and their contracts are similar. Would you take AJ Brown? Would you take CeeDee Lamb for AJ Brown?
See, this is one of those things where like
AJ Brown is age-wise 28. CeeDee Lamb
27.
CeeDee Lamb is a little younger.
26, 27.
CeeDee Lamb is 26.
26.
Yep. Won't tell 27 until after the season.
See, there's a couple of things here. Like, first of all, I try to do, and when I talk to other people about football, like I do try to take my fandom out of it because, like, no, right? He's won a Super Bowl with us now. Like that trade that Aussie pulled off was like amazing for the fact that we even have him, right? And he's a dog too. Like, you've seen him over at the Super Bowl party. I'm like, this guy is kind of built like a little bit of a linebacker.
Oh,
he's a solid
massive.
dude. But like, I think like if you took me out of it and I had those two players and I was running a team, I'd probably go for CD.
Yeah, I think he's in that. I would too. I think he's that tier. AJ Brown has those moments where he has those physically unstoppable moments where it's like,
he's a beast.
TO
Yeah, correct. That's what I mean. He's built that
it's
way.
just like, oh, cool. No one's bringing you down today.
No.
You're just the biggest, fastest, strongest person here.
Yeah.
So that's where this conversation is going to end. But
I think, like, to that point, though, like, I think AJ makes some of those catches because he is a contact guy. Like, he also, like, welcomes it and revels in it. Yeah. But also, it's how you design your schemes, your structures. Like, you're not trying to you're not putting CD into contact to try and get him. But in that position where you guys were, you need to make some of those throws that have it.
But all you can ask is, look, it sucks for those massive moments where the quarterback, the offensive line, had given Dak a chance to throw the ball. The throw was on the money and you didn't execute, and it's the reason you go away 0-1 for 1-0. But all you can ask is accountability. He didn't buck away from it, and the next morning, it's cliche, but it's what you want to hear. He was the first one in the building hours before practice with the jugs machine.
Oh, even that's beforehand when he watched like our presentation and everything, and everyone's like, "There's players that don't watch it." And they're like, "Why are you watching it?" Because I want that.
Yep.
He's got some friends on the team. Like, I love his mentality. Like, even to people probably trade AJ after that game, but like. Like even that was hard because like you guys played a lot of zone and stuff, and you sort of took him out of it. Yep. We had to do different passes. But
we threw bodies back there and sent 7 to the back.
Yeah. That doesn't mean we probably could have come up with some things to get him involved or get some touches.
It's weak, yeah.
Like both of them, you could both argue that there were elements of CD probably. If I don't have the box in front of me, but they said he did definitely more than AJ. But I don't think that was entirely AJ's fault as well.
No, it's the different differences.
You got the win. That's what you need.
You got the win, and also look, that's going to be something that we track for the season. Is that kind of that cornerback 2 spot for the Eagles might be a bit of an Achilles heel that teams get after, and but that's right. Howie will just get on the phone, sort it out. Right. Yeah. Moving on. The hot mic is down. We've unplugged it for the week, but we look forward to plenty more of your voice notes coming in. DMs.
Laurie,
they're open.
Just be like, hey, what's up?
They're open.
3 a.m.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Doesn't have to happen on the Monday. It could happen in the middle of this week. It could look. Sometimes the best ideas do come when it's the middle of the night. Have to go to the loo, and nature calls, and so do great ideas. So if just leave us a little voice note. And who knows, you can be lighting up the hot mic next week. Right. Moving on to a little segment called We've Got History, brought to you by StatMate. And this is where we're going to have a little look at some statistical trends of some players, or some statistical form, rather, for some players going into some fixtures coming up. And I'm going to present 3 of them. We'll lay them out there, and we're going to kind of say where we're going to put, where the wagon, we're going to hitch our wagon to. Yeah. So first up, Jonnu Smith. Obviously tied to Aaron Rodgers now at the Pittsburgh Steelers. He ended last season 4 touchdowns in his final 5 games. Talking about fantasy factors. Now over there in Pittsburgh, great way to start in week 1. 6 targets, 5 receptions, gets into the end zone, shows that kind of rumbling run after the catch when he's kind of gliding across the field, gets north, and he's an absolute punish to try and get to the ground. So with that production, we expect him to remain a key target heading into a matchup against a Seahawks team. Moving forward, Josh Jacobs, the Green Bay Packers. You're going to hear it plenty this season.
Jeez, we've produced some running backs, haven't we?
You really have.
Derrick Henry's still got it.
Yeah, Trent Richardson. Josh Jacobs.
TJ Yeldon.
TJ Yeldon. I fell in love with TJ Yeldon for a little bit there.
Actually, was pretty high.
Miami Yeldon.
I didn't want to sell stock.
No.
I still live in a condo on the island.
Yeah. It's
those players that you're just like,
it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It'll go. He just needs an opportunity. Better blocking.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs had 13 games with 65 rushing yards last season, averaging just over 78 per game. He's kicked off new campaign. Bang on the number, right? 66 yards. Hard fought yards against that Lions front. Barreled in for a very vintage, very quintessential Josh Jacobs
touchdown.
Correct.
Yep.
And dominated the backfield. 19 of the 25 carries, whilst also finding the end zone. He set the mark he set the record going into the end of last season with 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, I thought it was 8 today. It's 9 today.
8 straight games with a touchdown. Yeah. Now 9. So look, the Packers are already very high up the list. in terms of must-see TV. But going into week 2, they take on the Commanders, who were pretty stingy, kept Tyron Tracy and Cam Scatterbro pretty quiet.
Shout out to my scatter bros out there.
Yeah, shout out to the frat bros out there. I have firmly Tyron Tracy Hive over here. But up against, look, a firm Commanders front. They've rebuilt. It used to be that kind of the Jonathan Allen paired with Deron Payne. They've brought in some different names to fill out there. And then finally, we're talking inevitable, Brock Bowers hitting a very nice stride with Jonnu Smith. Wasn't an overly explosive game in general with that Raiders versus the Packers contest, but 5 for $103 in this one, building on that rookie of the stellar rookie season, all rookie form, record-breaking rookie season for the tight end. He's put up 50 receiving yards in his last 4 games. He averages over 82 in those games. Now he goes up against the Chargers. He was productive against them last season. He got over 50 yards in each of those, or 50 or more yards in each of those games. But it's an interesting meeting between this new Raiders duo and a Chargers defense that, yes, they gave up a touchdown to Travis Kelce. That's about all they gave up to tight ends. It was very well schemed play. But you got someone like Derwin James who was back to all-pro form last year. So when I'm looking at those statistical form going into this week, Jonnu Smith keeping it going as part of the Do You Believe in Me Rodgers Steelers. Josh Jacobs, like a metronome, up against a tough Washington front, keeping that kind of 65 plus yards and the touchdown going. Or Brock Bowers proving that he is the class of the tight end position and saying Derwin Schmerwin?
Derwin Schmerwin.
And that he's going to roll on against the division rival. I almost said roll tide there. Division rival LA Chargers. Where do you like to hitch the wagon?
It's funny you said relative. We're talking about Brock Bowers because he played for Georgia.
He did.
Who obviously we hate.
Yep.
They are dogs. They call themselves the DAWGS, but DOGs. I think that's probably like one of those players I wish played for Bama. Like I loved him in college. I love him now. I think out of the 3 of them, I think Brock is the safest bet. Even though with the Chargers, what you said last year was 58,
58. Yep.
I think he's that good. My only concern is he went out with an injury in the fourth quarter.
Got a little beat up.
We don't know anything about that yet, do we?
So, look, you never like to see knee. You never like to see that brought up. So left the game, and with someone like
there you go. Carroll said
Bowers,
they're looking at his knee.
Yeah,
he wanted to go back in, and they wouldn't let him go back in.
Exactly.
They thought, let's watch the game, see how it goes.
And because they were able to keep that game in hand, he got the questionable tag, and it was very murky about whether he's going to go back in. But look, I think if he's at that point where, and adrenaline's part of this, we know that with injuries, like sometimes guys just fired up and running and they're ready to go and it feels sore as anything the next day. Hot take, players don't leave games feeling overly fresh. But I think if he's at that position where I could have gone back in, but we kind of had this thing in the bag and we weren't overly threatened by what the Patriots were doing, not in the bag, but at arm's length, then I think we can expect to come back. So Brock's the one that jumps out to you for me. Looking at that, I think it's probably the talent. He is the talent I believe in the least about this.
Yeah. You got to Steelers, don't you? You trust Aaron Rodgers.
I've got a lot of faith in Josh Jacobs and that offense line, that offense, and LaFleur's play calling, the design that he's set up there. And Brock Bowers is all world to me. I think he's unimpeachable as a tight end talent. But with what I saw from the rest of that receiving core, particularly like DK Metcalf had some costly drops. I've not been a big fan of some of the other names that they have throughout that roster. Jonnu Smith with that short to intermediate gliding across the field, I think that fits where Rodgers is right now. So whether they're successful, I'm not buying in on the Rodgers hype, not buying in on the Steelers hype. But where Rodgers was looking at that kind of intermediate level,
it's the safest throw for him.
Safe throw, yards after the catch.
Yeah,
I could see Jonnu Smith being quite consistent. And from an individual talent standpoint, I've got Josh Jacobs and Bowers well ahead. But for how he fits right now, he was the most efficient. He was right up there. I think DK Metcalf led with targets with 7 for the Steelers, and Jonnu Smith was tied next best with 6. He was the most efficient in terms of bringing that in, wasted the targets the least, got into the end zone. I could see that form trending along because, I think he fits where Rodgers' game's at.
Well, you said, back of end of last year, like I think it was a lot of free agents in fantasy and people like Jonnu Smith scoring what? But if he has someone thrown to him, and I think that is the pass as well. I know today was a little different, but Rodgers last year, that was the pass like that he was looking for, the shorter ones.
Absolutely.
And I think, Brock to me is still the bet, but I think he might be injured. And then Joshie Jacobs, I love him, but it's that you ever do those multi-choice exams at school, and it's like A, B, C, and you got to color in little circles, and you like color in like C 9 times.
Yep.
You go, can't be C again.
Yep.
Like, even if you think that is the answer, you're like, I've got to color in the B square or the A square.
At some point, it's going to be one of those.
It's not that I don't think Josh Jacobs is a great player, but at some point, that's just how it works.
And then what you do is you color in B, you get the test back, and the teacher has seen that you've changed from C to B.
Yeah.
And they mark it wrong, and then in red ink is shouldn't have changed.
Change this, and you go.
Yeah, had it right the first time.
Yeah, don't trust me at all. Because a friend of mine asked for help with an Eagles and Dallas multi. Shout out Tyson, and everything got up except the one leg that didn't get up. I was like, AJ Brown, like,
oh.
So if there's one thing you've learned from this podcast, don't listen to us.
But thankfully, you can listen to StatMate with the phenomenal insights that they provide. Hey, did we like that? There we go. So there we go. Feeling a little brockish for you. And a little tight end love for me as well with Jonnu Smith. What? Excuse me.
I'm not wearing pants under the desk.
So look forward to far more insight and far more statistical glory we've got history, because this season is going to flow, and we're going to start to see these patterns emerge, and we're going to see these familiar opponents rise up. We're going to be here to point you in a little right direction. All right, before we get out of here, all right, we've talked a lot.
I know we've gone for, like, my timer says like an hour 25 or 26.
Oh, that's going to be a fun edit.
Yeah.
Now, before we get out of here, we have one more game tomorrow morning. It is the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears. NFC North special. Whether it's a prediction or whether it's just a feeling or something you want, what are you looking forward to? What do you think we're going to get out? What are you putting stock in and hope in for this NFC North finale?
I'm going to pick the Bears. I'm going to pick the Bears to win. You and I, again, we've spoken. Laurie and I have spoken outside the podcast and stuff. A lot of just beers at the pub, red wines. And Laurie, here's a fun fact about Laurie. Get to know him a bit better, guys. I'll bring you a Laurie fun fact. When he goes to the pub, right? No, he orders like a steak, or it could be a piece of chicken.
Sure.
Chicken snitty, whatever. Yeah. He gets double potato.
Not true.
He doesn't get veggies. He just gets potato and some sort of meat.
Accidental.
Now, I have multiple. You know this. I have multiple videos of this to be fact.
Mm-hmm.
So you can argue if you want, but I can put them up.
It was an accident. I thought it came with veg. I selected
You made the mistake twice.
It did. At 2 different establishments.
It wasn't even the same pub.
It may be a reading issue.
Yeah.
It might just be comprehension. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
No, we've spoken about. I'm actually high on Chicago. I actually like Caleb. But what has happened, especially today with Detroit, I'm like, Ben Johnson could be the guy. He could be the guy. So especially the way they looked, like offensive side of the ball, I'm keen. And the offensive line is better as well. It's got protection.
I am way too emotionally invested in the Bears offense. Caleb, receiving core, Ben Johnson. I'm ready to say that I think this is a true showcase. This is a statement game from them. I think we get substance behind a team that's been accused of being far too much flash and name. And I'll put it out there that I'll do the fingernails next week. If there's a big win for the Chicago Bears, painted fingernails are coming in. Salute to Caleb Williams. But I think Bears fans, when I walked in, we got a couple of Bears fans in the ESPN Sydney office, and I had a look across and just said, I know you guys didn't play today, but with the way Detroit lined up, I think you guys might be feeling even a little better than you woke up because that looked like a big piece of the puzzle had been dislodged, and it's now residing over there in Chicago.
And we've said this. I want the Bears to be good.
Yeah. I
want to live in a world where I watch the NFL and a historic franchise is good at football.
It's been so long. Like, what do we have? The odd Jay Cutler season that was half decent. There was that one Josh McCown season.
Yeah.
And the false hope of a Matt Nagy-led operation at one point. Like, the Bears are I know people see the vignettes before the Bears Packers, the oldest rivalry and all this kind of stuff, but football is better when the Bears are good. They're a pillar franchise. They've got ridiculous history and also kind of painful history. They've never had great offensive production, and I think it's a better 2025 NFL season if we've got the Ben Johnson explosive Bears on offer.
And a big PTI guy. And I'd love to watch that for once. And Mike Wilbon is like stoked to talk
Yeah.
about his Bears.
Just be
not
nice for Mike.
angry. I know.
Just
Mike seems like a lovely guy. I don't know him.
He's been spitting incredible takes and content for decades. He deserves a good Bears team to enjoy.
I hope so. I hope the big season for the Bears.
Well, we hope that you have enjoyed the debut episode of NFL Afters. It's the end of a tired Monday, but it's a beautiful Monday. We've got football back in our lives.
Football's back, baby. Jimmy, good person. I like this other fella. What's your name? Larry? Larry Horseradish. Good
that's
guy,
it.
good people. They'll be back. More
That's the
NFL
traditional
Afters.
pronunciation.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Larry Horseradish. Good guy, good people.
For
Eat steak and just potato. Nothing else.
I'm looking forward to getting home and having some broccolini.
Nothing else.
Maybe some romaine. I'm not much of a baby spinach guy.
It
Rockets,
needs to be cooked.
Rockets
to be honest. I'm just
overrated.
gonna eat, yeah.
Not gonna lie, don't mind when they fry up the kale a little and it gets crunchy.
Yeah, but I think it's because the oil's all over it. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
You go to
the
a
same
breakfast
reason.
place?
Nice
Yes.
caramelized Brussels sprouts.
Yeah,
same,
I'm like, yeah,
same
get a bit
idea.
of that spinach and kale.
There we go. Yeah, it's good. It's good. That come with that barbecue glaze. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Nice. Lay that down. All right. Well, look, for Jimmy and the multitude of characters that he's brought out today, for me and the unpleasant singing that I put you through, thank you for listening on. It's been NFL Afters. It'll be NFL Afters this time next week, and we look forward to seeing you then.